I was hiding inside the house of the man everybody feared. My back pressed to his cold wall, rain beating the roof hard, and his angry voice was moving from room to room looking for me. My heart was running faster than my legs ever could. If he caught me, I knew nobody on the street would defend me. They would say I should have known better than to enter his house. My name is Sadiq. I was 11 that year, and that was the day I learned that silence can be louder than noise. Before that day, Mr. Bemidele was known for only one thing. He hated noise. He hated it the way some people hate snakes. The moment children laughed too loud, he would rush out and shout until everyone scattered. If a ball hit his gate by mistake, he would rain insults like stones. Parents warned us about him every morning. They said, "Stay away from that man. He is not normal." His house stood at the corner of Akinwale Street. Old paint, tall gate, always locked. Even during hot days, his windows stayed shut. No music ever came from there, no visitors, no laughter. Just quiet. That afternoon, my mother sent me to buy bread. The sky was clear when I left, but halfway to the shop, the rain fell like someone poured water from heaven. It was heavy and sudden. I ran. The bread got wet. The road became slippery. Thunder shook the ground. I slipped and fell. When I stood up, water was everywhere. I looked around for shelter. Shops were closed. People had run inside. Then I saw it. Mr. Bamidele's gate was open. I stopped breathing for a moment. My legs wanted to run, but the rain pushed me forward. Another thunder struck, loud and close. I ran inside the gate without thinking. The door to the house was not locked. I entered. Inside the house was darker than outside. The smell was strange, like medicine and old paper. The door closed by itself, softly. I stood still. My ears waited for shouting. None came. Instead, I noticed something odd. The walls were not normal walls. They were covered with soft things, like sponge. The windows were thick and dull. Even the floor felt quiet when I stepped. I walked slowly, my slippers in my hand. That was when I heard a sound. Not shouting, not footsteps. A small, painful sound, like crying, but stuck inside the head. Then I saw him. Mr. Bemidele came out from a room holding his head with both hands. His face was wet with sweat. He did not look angry. He looked hurt. He said softly, "Who is there?" I wanted to answer, but fear tied my mouth. He looked around, and then he saw me. For the first time in my life, the man who hated noise did not shout. He fell to his knees, and that was when I knew something was wrong, and everything we thought we knew about him was a lie. Mr. Bamidele stayed on his knees for a long time. I did not move. I was scared that even breathing loud would hurt him. His hands were still on his head, and his eyes were shut tight, like he was fighting something inside himself. The house felt heavier than before, not dark, but thick, like the air was holding secrets. Slowly, he opened his eyes and looked at me again. His voice came out small and weak. "You can sit there. Just do not make noise." I nodded and sat on the floor close to the door. My heart was still beating fast. I expected him to shout or chase me out, but he did not. He stood up slowly and walked to a chair. Even the chair did not make any sound when he sat on it. Everything in that house was made to be quiet. That was when I really looked around. The walls were full of pictures, Not the kind you see in happy homes. These ones looked like a story that had broken in the middle. On one wall, I saw a woman smiling, holding two small children. The woman was pretty and calm. The children looked around my age. They were laughing in the picture, their mouths open wide. On another wall, the same people were lying on hospital beds. Tubes were on their bodies. Their eyes were closed. The smiles were gone. My chest felt tight. I stood up slowly and walked closer. Mr. Bomadele did not stop me. He watched me like he was tired of stopping people. On a small table under the pictures, I saw two tiny things. They looked like toys, but I knew they were not. I had seen something like that on television before. Hearing aids. I pointed at them. "What are these?" He did not answer quickly. When he finally spoke, his voice sounded far away. "They belong to my children." I turned to look at him. My mouth opened, but no words came out. He rubbed his face with his hands. "They used to sing in the house, morning and night. They sang even when they were eating. They sang when it rained." As he spoke, his breathing changed. It became faster. He closed his eyes again. I wanted to tell him sorry, but I didn't know how. Sorry felt too small. He continued talking, like he wasn't talking to me, but to the walls. One night, a bus ran into our car. The sound was louder than thunder. That sound did not stop. It stayed with me. He tapped his head lightly. Every loud thing sounds like that crash. Shouting, laughter, music, it all comes back as pain. I remembered how he used to shout at us, how angry his face looked. Suddenly, that anger made sense. He opened his eyes and looked at me. "People think I hate children. I do not. Noise just hurts me." Rain started falling again outside, softer this time. Thunder rolled far away. Mr. Bomadele flinched like someone hit him. Without thinking, I took off my slippers and placed them gently on the floor. He noticed and nodded slowly. For the first time since I entered the house, I didn't feel like I was in danger. I felt like I was inside a wound that never healed. We stayed quiet for a long time. The rain outside sounded far away, like it was happening in another world. Inside the house, everything was still. Mr. Bomadele stood up and walked to the window. He checked it like someone checking a wound. He adjusted the thick curtain and pressed the window edge with his fingers to be sure no sound could enter. I watched him. Every movement he made was careful, slow, like he was afraid of breaking something inside himself. After some time, I remembered the bread in my hand. It was soaked and soft. I felt stupid for even thinking about bread at that moment. I held it behind me. Mr. Bomadele noticed. "You should go home when the rain stops," he said. I nodded. Before I could stop myself, words fell out of my mouth. "Why do you stay alone?" The question surprised both of us. He looked at me for a long time. I thought he would send me out. Instead, he sat back down. "Because people do not like quiet pain," he said. "They only understand loud ones." I did not fully understand, but I felt it was true. Then we heard shouting outside. Children's voices. My heart jumped. Mr. Bomadele froze. His hands shook. The shouting grew louder. The boys on the street were playing in the rain, splashing water, laughing, and calling each other. Mr. Bomadele's face changed. His eyes widened. He held his head again and leaned on the wall. I wanted to help, but I did not know how. The shouting became nearer. Someone kicked his gate by mistake. The sound hit him like a slap. He cried out, a small sound, and slid down the wall. His breathing was fast and broken. Sweat covered his face. I remembered the sponge walls, the thick windows, the quiet house. All of it was to protect him. I stood up and ran to the door. I did not think, I just moved. I opened the door and stepped outside into the rain. The boys stopped when they saw me. "Why are you standing there like that?" one of them asked. I raised my voice, but not too loud. "Please go away. You are hurting him." They laughed at first. They thought I was joking. Then I shouted again, louder, "Please." Something in my voice made them pause. They looked past me into the dark house. The gate creaked in the wind. One of the boys whispered, "Is he inside?" I nodded. The boys became quiet. Slowly they moved away, their feet splashing less, their voices dropping. When the street became calm again, I went back inside. Mr. Bomadele was still on the floor, breathing slowly now. He looked at me with eyes full of something I had never seen him before. "You did not have to do that," he said. I shrugged. "It was hurting you." He nodded once. His eyes became wet, but no tears fell. That was the moment I understood something important. The street we played on every day was not just loud, it was dangerous to him. And for the first time, I felt like the street owed him an apology. After the boys left, the house settled again. The quiet returned slowly, like a scared animal coming back out of hiding. Mr. Bomadele stayed on the floor for some time before standing up. He used the wall to support himself. I could see he was tired in a deep way, the kind that sleep does not fix. He walked to a cupboard and brought out a bottle of water. He drank small sips and offered it to me. I took it carefully and drank too. Even the sound of swallowing felt loud inside my ears. "You are brave," he said. I shook my head. "I was just scared." He gave a small smile. That was the first time I ever saw him smile. It did not stay long, but it was real. He sat on the chair again and looked at the pictures on the wall. I followed his eyes. He did not turn to look at me when he spoke. "When my children were alive, the house was never quiet," he said. "I complained sometimes. I said they should lower their voices. I said my head was tired. I did not know I would beg for that noise one day." His voice broke, but he did not stop talking. "After the accident, doctors said my ears were damaged. Not like deafness. Worse. Sounds came back wrong. Sharp. Heavy. They told me to rest, to avoid noise. But how do you avoid noise in this world?" He laughed softly, a sad laugh. "I sold the car. I stopped going to church. I stopped visiting friends. Everywhere had sound waiting to hurt me." I listened without blinking. His story felt like a rope pulling me into his life. That was when I noticed something else. On a shelf near the back room, there were notebooks. Many of them. All looked old and used. I walked closer. "What are these?" I asked. He looked at them and sighed. "Things I cannot say out loud." I opened one notebook slowly. Inside were drawings, houses, streets, children playing, all drawn without mouths. I closed it gently. "Sometimes," he continued, "when the noise becomes too much, I shout. It pushes the pain away for a moment. People think I am angry. They do not know I am begging." His words sat heavy in the air. I thought of my friends. I thought of our games, our shouting, our laughter. I thought of how normal it felt to us. I realized something then. Pain does not always look like pain. Sometimes it looks like anger. Sometimes it looks like wickedness. Sometimes it looks like a man shouting at children.
The rain outside had stopped completely. Sunlight tried to push through the thick window. "It is time for you to go home," he said softly. I stood up slowly. I did not want to leave. The house no longer felt scary. It felt sad. At the door, I turned back. "Will you come outside one day?" He did not answer at first. Then he nodded. "Maybe," he said, "when the street learns how to be quiet." I opened the door carefully and stepped out. For the first time, I did not feel like I was leaving a bad man behind. I felt like I was leaving a wounded one.
When I stepped back onto Akinwale Street, everything looked the same, but I was not the same. The puddles on the road reflected the sky. The houses stood where they always stood. Children were already coming out again, shaking water from their clothes, calling one another. Life was moving on like nothing had happened. I walked home slowly. My mother scolded me for staying out in the rain. I did not explain. I ate the bread quietly. That night, when children were playing outside and laughing, I felt the sound differently. Each shout felt heavier, like it was landing on someone's head. The next morning, I did something I had never done before. I went from house to house on our street. I started with my friends. I told them to lower their voices near the corner house. Some laughed, some asked why. I told them about the pain. I did not tell them everything. I did not talk about the pictures or the notebooks. I only said that noise hurts him the way fire hurts skin. Some believed me, some did not. That afternoon, a ball rolled toward Mr. Bamadele's gate. Nobody kicked it. We all froze. One boy walked quietly and picked it up. That was the first small change. Days passed. Parents started telling their children to play farther away from the corner. Someone fixed Mr. Bamadele's gate so it would not slam. Someone else oiled the hinges. I did not know who did it. The street did it quietly. One evening, I saw his curtain move. The next day, his front door opened. Just a little. Mr. Bamadele stepped outside. He did not stay long. He stood near his gate, hands in his pockets, eyes closed. Children watched from a distance. Nobody shouted. Nobody ran. The street held its breath. He opened his eyes and looked around. His face tightened, but he did not run back inside. He nodded once, like someone thanking an invisible crowd. After that, he came out sometimes, always short, always careful. He stopped shouting. When children forgot and became loud, he did not scream. He simply went inside, and we learned. One evening, rain started again. Soft rain, no thunder. I saw him standing at his window, watching children play in the rain quietly. I waved. He waved back. That was the day I understood something bigger than fear. Some people are not bad, they are broken. And sometimes the kindest thing is not to be louder. It is to listen.